Hi guys, I'm Daddy Freeze, convener of the Free the Sheeple movement and leader of the Free Nation in Christ. I greet you and I bring glad tidings. Yesterday we had the session for the guys. Now, I need you all to be very attentive. Anyone disrupting will be removed. I have 20 minutes to deliver this, and I won't be able to do it if you guys keep interrupting and keep talking. I'm not getting paid for these sessions. I'm not asking for stars or money guns or um, super chats or super stickers or super likes. So please let us keep the business as serious as possible. Anyone who does not want to conform with the rules of this channel is going to be removed. If you're on YouTube, you'll be watching, but you'll never be allowed to comment again. I need full attention. Okay? So I've just raptured two people real quick. I'll also close the comment section if I notice that you guys are abusing the privilege of commenting. Let us start with a prayer. Heavenly Father, I thank you for giving us the opportunity to gather in your name. And I ask that this session be filled with your wisdom. In Yahushua's name I pray. Amen. So yesterday we talked about Esther. We talked about Vashti. We talked about Michael, David's wife. And we talked about Bathsheba. And just like David and Xerxes, who were kings back then, they needed women who could be queen material. Queen material does not drag the leadership with the king. A queen material does not talk down on the king. If you notice the problems that Vashti and this other lady, what's her name? Uh, Michael had. Michael talked down on David, uh, called him shameless for dancing in public, and she was replaced. You know, it is very easy to replace a woman who doesn't respect a man. And I gave the example of many men marrying women when they haven't gotten to their own yet. They're still struggling to find themselves. And while struggling to find themselves, they meet a woman. It's like me, Daddy Freeze today, leader of the Free Nation. It's going to be different if I met a woman today than if I met a woman when I was Freeze, when I was DJ Freeze, that became Freeze of Cool FM, before I finally got to where I am today. A woman that followed me on that journey, unless she's exceptionally wise, would never respect me, would always continue seeing me as that boy that was DJ Freeze, walking up and down Ibadan because he did not have a car, entering bus. No matter how rich I become, you're never going to appreciate me because you know me from where I was a nobody. And that was the story with David. Michal knew David when he was a nobody. She was a princess. She was Saul's daughter. She knew him when he was nothing. When he was supposed to marry Meriab, Saul's first daughter, but then he did not have anything to marry her, so Saul married her off to somebody else. And then Saul gave him the opportunity to marry Michal, and he had nothing to give except 200 foreskins of the Philistines. So Michal knew when Saul came after him, and Michal had to tie something in the bed and make it look like he was still in bed. Michal also had to lie on his behalf that, he said he was going to buy me if I did not do that. So how is Michal ever going to see him as a chosen one of God? How is Michal ever going to see that this decision he's taking, despite it being embarrassing, he is doing according to God's plan? The problem many of us have is we tend to marry our wives when we are nothing. And the problem many women have is they don't have the wisdom to appreciate a man who is nothing but is going somewhere. Some call it see finish. When you are already something and you marry a woman, it's like, imagine I'm leader of the free nation now and I marry a woman today. She cannot come and tell me, hey, that's now to run the church. Church that we've been running for 7 years before you came. So men thrive a lot on this respect. They thrive a lot on feeling like men, especially Nigerian or African men. And they don't take it well when a woman disrespects. So I was a lot of on that yesterday, and I explained to a lot of women, some feminists in the group did not agree. Listen, and that's what I'm going to tell you today for free. A man will always be a man and will always ginger, would always lean towards where he's getting his respect from. That is how men are wired. They are not wired like women. And you women, once you don't share bill with man, automatically you and I be equal. God never made you equal from the get-go. And if we use the biblical narrative, even if a lot of us don't believe the creation story, whatever it is, even if it was allegorical, the man came first. And the Bible says this. Paul says this. Let me not say the Bible, because let's be careful with Paul. Let me give you the scripture to back this up. 1 Corinthians chapter 11. And man was not made for woman, but woman was made for man. And if you read it in the proper context, he speaks about, let's read it from verse 7. A man should not wear anything on his head when worshiping, for man is made in God's image and reflects God's glory, and woman reflects man's glory. 8. For the first man didn't come from woman, but the first woman came from man. And verse 9. And man was not made for woman, but woman was made for man. For this reason, and because the angels are watching, a woman should wear a covering on her head to show that she is under authority. Now, a lot of us might disagree with the Pauline narrative, but you see, it speaks from a broader perspective of the kind of mindset the people had back then. And this mindset was shared across sub-Saharan Africa. It was shared across the Middle East. No Middle Eastern or African tribe directly puts the woman in authority over a man. Even in Ghana, where people follow their mother's surname, there is still authority given to a man over a woman in a household. And that authority, no matter how subconscious it is etched into our brains. And when you don't feel that authority or you don't get that authority, the next thing that happens is you start to seek it elsewhere. So women will wonder, I stayed with this man when he was nothing. We shared bills. I did everything, and yet he left me. You did everything. But did you give him authority? This is a whole series. I'm going to teach it bit by bit today. I'm touching a little bit of it today. Did you give this man authority? Someone said, Daddy Freeze, the slave masters put that biblical rules in place to favor men. Was it the slave masters that told my grandfather in Oyo to marry 4 wives? My father has 2 wives. Was it the slave masters who had one wife? You see, you cannot take away the authority of. That's why I'm not giving you a biblical. I've told you, stop interrupting me, because you don't. When I give you something, I give it to you backed in history, in Bible. I gave you the Pauline narrative, which supports Yoruba narrative. In Yoruba land, a man has authority. In Igbo land, a man has authority. In Hausa land, a man owns his wife. And these were in place before the slave masters came. And the only thing that I can point to that explains this in context is polygamy. The slave master did not practice polygamy. He met us practicing it. Until today, we have Yule Doche who is still practicing it in this generation. So can we rest with this? I know when to bring the slave master, and I know where they brought the problem from. But what the slave master did was give us a Bible that some context supported pre-existing notions. Can I please continue without interruption? So a man seeks respect. A man wants respect. And you'll be amazed. Women come to the table and say, I gave birth to a child. You make these things, yes, I wouldn't put childbearing as inconsequential, but your mother gave birth to you, and she did not climb on top of a mountain to cry of all she went through to give birth to you. So we have a huge dilemma. A guy was telling me the other day that he was having issues with his wife. That can he talk to his wife? Can I talk to his wife? So I said, okay. I set up a meeting, and I had a conversation with the lady. And one of the things that drew my attention to, that my attention was drawn to in that situation, was the lady said that she doesn't even enjoy lovemaking anymore. That it is like a chore. I said, Auntie, it's like you didn't have marriage counseling. Who counseled you? Said they counseled her in church. That's Catholic priest. I say, listen, Catholic priest no get wife. Me, I will counsel you. I get wife. It is a job. It is fun when the two of you are fornicating, quote and unquote, even though that word doesn't exist. That's where the fun is. That's why when I see a boyfriend and girlfriend, or a fiance and a fiancé who want to get married, I don't deny them the pleasure of that fornication. God did not say you cannot do it, as long as the two of you are going to get married. Because once you marry, it becomes work. It becomes assignment. It gets to have a timetable. You see, when you are young, that's why a lot of people do not understand marriage. Everything in marriage is work. Everything in marriage is work. Going to watch a movie together is work. You don't just wake up one day and say, let's go and watch a movie. You have to factor in her schedule. You have to factor in the children. You have to factor, do we have money for this movie? What about the rent? You cannot go and watch movie and then you come home and you cannot pay the light bill. Every single thing in a marriage is work. And when you get that, you can now make your job fun or your job difficult. But you need to understand that it is a job. Don't wrap your head around the silliness of this generation where they like to play around with things and make it look like he's not romantic, he's not this. The two of you have to work on the romance. Men, you have to work on being romantic. Women, you also have to learn how to work with your men. Let me tell you, if you've been with the same man every day for 4 years, after a while, his touch is not going to arouse you anymore. The honeymoon ends. Once the honeymoon ends, his touch is no longer going to. So you now have to look whether it is medicine you will go and be drinking, whether it is counseling you are going to go to, because if you don't give it to him, I swear to you, he's going to get it outside for 10% of what you are charging him emotionally, financially, psychologically. I told this woman this. The next thing the woman told me was, those girlfriends outside, they are like that. Let him bring them home. that's when they will change. Who told you he wants to bring them home? I want to ask you, when you eat banana, do you bring the peel home? The enjoyment is in eating the banana. You don't need the peel for anything. You're not going to keep it as a souvenir. So the man is enjoying himself. When he's done after 6 months, he moves on to the next one. He's not going to marry them. It is when he meets an exceptional one that he can now decide that, oh, this one is special. But regular side chick, I give you some money and you give me a service. And there's a side chick for every budget. If you can spend, all you can spend a month is 15,000 naira, there's a side chick for you. And if you can spend as much as 1 million naira a month, there's a side chick for you. And if your budget is 5 million naira, there's super high side chick. So women get it confused that she's taking good care of you because she's outside. Bring her in. Who told you he wants to bring her in? He hired her to do house side chick work. Finish. Contract. We meet 3 times a week. So and so and so. We have dinner. We have movies. This, that. This is my budget. They won't spell it out like that, but in words and in deeds, this is my budget. Can you work with it? Someone is saying now 50K minimum now. Let me tell you, person where they end that 50,000 as salary, he still get side chick. So how much in the 50,000 he want giving side chick? So even 15,000 naira side chick, local side chick still day. So stop feeling that the man is enjoying the girl outside. Let him bring her home. She'll be worse than the first wife. That happens to foolish men who want to bring the side chick home and turn her into a wife. If you want to marry a second wife, don't go through the side chick route. You will meet problem there. Let the side chick be a side chick. Trenchy side chick for 10, 15K a month, you will get. So when I was sitting down and I was explaining this to this woman, I saw her attitude. I was like, look, you think that because the two of you are sharing bills, you are now his mate. He will go outside and look for the one that will submit to him. And even if she's submitting to him to get paid at the end of the month, if she acts very well, he would enjoy her service. And before you know it, that dirty girl that is carrying a side chick knows all your secrets. If you want to destroy a man, don't go for his wife, go for a side chick. Learn from Delilah. Go for a man's side chick. She knows his secrets. Especially those ones that are wise, not those ones that are doing, those ones that know how to calm him down, rub his head. Everything is going through in his home. He will come and tell his side chick. He will. If you see some men running down their wives in front of their side chicks, oh, she's so dirty. She had 3 children. My mother had 7 children. My mother was not dirty. I don't understand. Only 2 children, and she's dirty. She's all over the place. If you see my mother's stomach, my mother does not have a single stretch mark. Look at her whole thigh, her whole stomach. I don't know if it's the too much food that is inside the house that she's all eating away like walrus. So it seems very easy for women to attribute blame to themselves or to their men. Listen, if you're a woman listening to me right now, the reason why your marriage is not working is you. You are watching too much Oyinbo movie. One of the reasons Boko Haram started was they wanted to ban westernization, Western education, and Western media influences on their people. And even though I will never support their mission or the way they went about it, there is a lot of truth. Western media has ruined Africa. Western civilization has ruined Africa's equilibrium. Africa has its own issues, don't get me wrong. But Western values have ruined us. It prevented our values from evolving. It prevented our cultures from evolving. It prevented our faith from evolving. And they took our artifacts. These same artifacts that they told us were idols, they took it. Okay, give us back. They said they can only give us back on loan, but they gave us Jesus for free. Think. People were happy in the 1910s and 1900s. You'll be amazed that there were no thieves, there were no criminals, there were no all this wickedness, and it came with the Oyibo people and their behavior. How they talk with Afe Babalola, Are Afe Babalola, Bamofi of Yoruba land. He talked about growing up in the 1930s. He said there was nothing like this, there was no crime, it wasn't like this. So we need to understand that westernization is a problem. And if we are not careful what parts of it we are imbibing, we will allow it to destroy us. We'll be like America, that is a society that has no culture. Today, one person can wake up and decide that he wants to be identified as a dog. Instead of me, they find Cain. Me, they take cure him weary. They go, they call him dog. Does that sound normal to you? Let me ask you. Person wake up one morning, he say no be human being again, he be fan. Instead of me, you tear around walls, making eye clear, you go begin to call him fan. And if you don't call him fan, he go sue you, go court. That's what you people think is advancement? That's what you people think is development? Oh, yes, they have industries. Oh, yes, their women have rights. But just as women have rights, small pikin wey decide say in one become man, even though they born them as woman, get right. That is the ill of westernization. And you see, when we imbibe it as Africans, we threw away our Africanness, forgetting that we have lived as Africans for a long time. Oh yes, Africans did not allow women to develop and blossom into what they were supposed to be. Agreed. But if you read if you read Arrow of God, one of the books that I recommend for you to read before you can join the Free Nation. Before Ezego, what was the name of the priest? Before the white man could take over from him, his wickedness to his people allowed for the white man to come in. And that's why you must read that book, because you must understand how religion entered Africa. And until you get it, you will not be able to solve the dilemma. So let me get back to where I was. I'm not saying westernization is bad. I'm saying what parts of it do you import? Because all of a sudden, Chinua Achebe, Arrow of God, you must read that book before you join the Free Nation. You must. There are two Chinua Achebe books that you must read. Arrow of God and Things Fall Apart. You must read them. You can never understand my message if you don't read those two books. Then you must read Animal Farm and Watership Down. These are basic little stories that can help you understand the Bible. Because you are now reading it from the perspective of, you understand how this religion was given to us, so you are no longer taking it as it came from God. You are taking it as it came from the white man. And as it came from the white man added this to it. If you've read Animal Farm and Things Fall Apart, you must read Arrow of God too. Very important. So back to what I was saying. So a man is looking, an African man, whether you like it or not, you've been programmed. By the time you are 7 years old, the rest of your life is living out that program. Many psychologists agree between the day you were born and the day you are 7. And your programming is not always conscious. You look around, you see the way your mother serves your father food. You go to visit your grandmother, you see the way your grandmother kneels down to greet her husband. It enters your head. Whether you register it or not, you are being programmed. And at the same time, the TV is trying to program you the other way around. That's why the shows they have on TVs are called programs, because they are used to program. So by the time you are grown, you already have it in your head, especially if you grew up in Nigeria, that as a man, you need that authority, and you will seek that authority. And when you don't get that authority, you will look for any other means to get it. And when you realize that the means to get it is actually cheaper, all you need to do is play your game right. Make sure she doesn't get pregnant. Make sure you don't get any disease. Then you would realize that, oh man, why am I spending so much on my wife when I can get the value for 10% from a side chick? So the women are now happy, or the men are now happy. Yes, 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 yes. It is the women's fault. No. This message today is actually meant for the men. I spoke to the women yesterday. Yes, they are supposed to be queens. Yes, they are supposed to respect you as a king. My question is, are you like David? Are you like Xerxes? Or are you like that very lovely guy mentioned in the Bible? Nabal. Are you like David? You want to be treated like Bathsheba. But did you marry a David? You want Bathsheba's respect, but are you a David? Have you read David? When Saul needed someone to come and play the harp for him, they said David was the best harp player in the whole of Israel. He was a man of war. He had God's... If you see the way they praise David, let me ask you, Mr. Man, how many of David's values do you have? The fact say you get blockers and hair don't they grow around them, not make you a man. Or well, it makes you a biological man. But to be a man of social standing is not about being able to impregnate. It is about being able to nurture what comes forth from the conception. An 18-year-old boy, where Bolahon they stand, we get blockers, can do the same job a 60-year-old man can do when it comes to giving a woman belly. You and Ned Nwoko, when it's time to give belly, you have the same ability. But can you take care of Regina Daniels the way Ned is taking care of her? That's the difference between David and Nabal. To give woman belly easy. People for secondary school, they give themselves belly now. They will come house, they cry, saying, I didn't know. So being a man is not being able to get a woman pregnant. That's what you were taught. That's what you think. I'm a man. No. Can you nurture? Why would Regina Daniels not respect Ned Nwoko when he provides for her? She was at the set the other day, said she was broke. He sent her 10 million. You, your wife, they send you text message. Say, please, I need recharge card 1K. You will go change your settings for your text message so that she no go know, say you don't see the message. Then you come home and say, I am a king. Sometimes some of the reasons, or one of the reasons why you are not being treated as a king is because you are not one. Become a king. Look at every man listening to me this morning and tell him, become a king. When you become a king and your woman refuses to become a Bathsheba, remains a Michael, then you kick her out. But David did not replace Michal when he was still a struggling boy. Men become kings. You don't have to own a business. You don't have to be an entrepreneur. You don't have to be a leader of a faction. You don't even have to be leader of the free nation. Just be a king in your home. If you put yourself in a place of authority, the Bible says, men, love your wives. When you love your wife and she now does not submit to you, then you know you need a new wife. But have you loved her first? You know what it means to love someone? It means she's not going to lack. It means you are going to trust her with your account, with your finances. I don't have a problem with taste buds knowing how much I earn. As a matter of fact, every money I earn, I tell her about it. This is how much I made. Oh. This month I didn't do too well. Oh. Last month was amazing. Oh, this is my best month so far. Oh. I spend time with her. I am kind to her emotions. I put in effort to make the marriage work. Then and only then would you get respect. If you read that story before David had an issue with Michal, after blessing everyone, he came home to bless his family. Are you blessing your family? Are you blessing your family? Are you being a husband to your wife? Are you loving your wife? One day, one big man, I read the story in the news when I first came to Lagos. So I don't know the accuracy of it, but I'm sure you must have read it too. Somewhere in Ikoyi, came to his office in the middle of the night. He was supposed to go to some event with his wife. Came to the office, and his wife was on top of the table, and one of their staff was helping his wife wash her plate. If you know what that means. They said the man fainted. I don't know whether from there he died. It was 20 years ago story when I first came to Lagos. Why is somebody outside licking your wife's plate or washing your wife's plate? Don't you have dishwasher? Oh, it's not nice. It's irritating. Oh my God. Oh my God. Are you pleasing your wife? Are you taking your time to find out what your wife wants? This is a church service, by the way. Those of you who are thinking I will teach you inside the church service because that is what you go and do outside. Is that not what you women go and do outside? They still reported one Free Nation woman to me. They said in the country that she's living in, the men that have slept with her are more than the ones that have not. Please explain to me, what is she looking for outside? And yes, our cultures have intimidated women for so long that a woman now starts feeling like And it will show if she asks her husband what she wants. But guess what? When she's chatting with that guy that is chatting her up, she knows how to ask. She just, 5 guys are chatting your wife up. I know how to get information without getting information. I can do it with any woman and she'll not know I'm milking her for information. I just send a message. I say, hey, how far? I can just ask. So, you and your husband, when last did you do it? You don't know I'm programming you. The next thing I'll just ask you. So, why is it? Why? You must say, I really enjoy it. Why? He does this, he does this, he does this, he does this. Simple. You've told me what you like. If I want to chase you, I just need to follow the path of what you like. And if I ask, why is he not working with your husband? He doesn't do this, he doesn't do this, he doesn't do this, he doesn't do this. Now you've told me what you don't like. So that's how your wife is. She's chatting different guys, just former schoolmates, friends, people she met. They're having conversations, and then they're talking about a movie. You see, let me tell you, a guy that's going to sleep with your wife is not going to meet her today and sleep with her this night. If that is it, then your wife is a full-blown Olosho. It's going to take months of gisting. They are watching a movie. Man, I saw this movie. You should see this movie. Then the conversation will go that side, and once it goes that side, they're just going to have the conversation for like 3 minutes, and the guy already knows what your wife needs, or your wife already knows whether this guy is going to serve her needs. Then, man, I find it disgusting. Why? Me, I can never do that to a woman. No. Automatically, your wife don't. Some of you have been friend zones because they've put you through several tests and you never passed yourself out of that friend zone. She likes you as a friend, but she knows that you cannot satisfy her. So she friend zones you. Then she meets the one that can do all those things. And then one day, opportunity presents itself. Boom. Are you satisfying your woman? So, here's for the men. And I'm going to do another session again for still the men. You want to be treated like a king. Meanwhile, when was the last time you paid bills? Do you think Michael was sharing bills with David? Do you think at the end of the month, David brought his paycheck, Michael brought her paycheck, they now joined everything together? They now say, okay, this month we'll buy new shoe for what's his name? Not Samson, what's the Solomon? No. Let's not buy, let's pay Adonijah's school fees. You think that's her? You think David came home and said, Michael, can you please borrow me some money? Really? Really? You want to be like David. You want a woman to respect you like David. But you want to be sharing bill with the woman. Your David is going to take a while. Look at somebody and say your David is going to take a while. Now, women, learn to identify promise. He's sharing bill with you, but he's going to a place where he will not need to share bill with you. Respect him now. So when he gets there, he will value you. But my question for the man is, that place that you are going, are you even thinking of going there, or you are comfortable where you are? Michael, I'm home. Michael, this month, this is how much I made. How much did you make? We will not send money to your mother this month. Let's send money to my mother first. You want to be doing that? Your David is going to take a while. And don't blame your woman. if she's not patient, because sometimes it looks like that cloud is never gonna get a silver lining. It looks like that cloud is never ever going to get a silver lining. Some of you, your tunnel does not have light at the end. When they finish the tunnel, you come out, it's still darkness. But she's not submitting. She's not submitting. You want somebody's daughter to submit to non-entity. You want to be treated like David. You want to be Xerxes. Oh, Vashti did not obey me. Set up a beauty pageant and get me the next Esther. You think beauty pageant is mouth they used to set it up? You don't know the amount of money. Do you know that the women were prepared for 2 years? They were taken care of with the best skincare for 2 years before the king went to them. You know what it is like to feed women for 2 whole years? Give them the best. You're probably going to be spending, like in today's world, you're probably going to be spending like 10 million per woman. Then you have like 50. Then you sit down and say, Xerxes did it, I did it. You went inside the 100,000 and they share as revenue for family for 1 month. Your wife, they bring 60, you, they bring 40. Then you want to replace your wife. Replace her with what? A sugar mommy. Some of you men are the way you are because you have not gotten to become your David. And without being a David, never demand from a woman to become a Bathsheba. That's my message for you today. I'm going to continue with this series. It's an ongoing process, so be patient with me. I'm going to run off right now. There were some guys who said they were watching from Kirikiri. Are you guys still here? You want me to bring you up for a minute or two? Are you there, guys? Okay, so if you're not here, and I saw some guys talk. Oh, they were here chatting earlier on. So anyway, that's as far as I can go today. I'm gonna rush off, and I'm gonna continue hopefully with the topic tomorrow. Take good care of yourselves. God bless you, and remember, men, you can't make demands that David made until you become like David. So, as I'm going to be blaming the women, I'm going to be blaming the men too. God bless you. This message is very important. Some of you, this year is the year you're going to get married, and some of you, this year is the year you're going to struggle in marriage. That can be fixed if you know how. Take care, and God bless.